Hello, my name is Toby, and I'm going to be talking to you about graphic memoirs, deselection, and selection. So first off, what are graphic memoirs? Graphic memoirs are a genre of graphic novel that is typically nonfiction or creative nonfiction. They focus on the life of the author, or someone close to them, or someone they have researched. Some examples of this are Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. And in Fun Home, Alison Bechdel talks about her own experience growing up, her family, and what that was like, and as well as coming out as a queer person. Mouse by Art Spiegelman was one of the first graphic novels that really hit the mainstream. And in Mouse, Art Spiegelman talks about his father's experience surviving the Holocaust, and then his own experience growing up with his father. So I looked at the University of Alberta Library's graphic memoirs. So when I was searching, I looked specifically for print, English language materials held by one of the University of Alberta libraries. So this did not include the NEOS Consortium libraries, so I did not look at something that was at Grant MacEwan or Norquest, for example. I found 69 titles with the U of A libraries. And the U of A libraries do have the classic graphic memoirs such as Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi, Fun Home by Alison Bechdel, and Mouse by Art Spiegelman. These are sort of the ones that tend to come up in the literature when people are looking at graphic memoirs. I also found a reasonable spread of subjects amongst the graphic memoirs, which I was quite pleased about. So, typical subjects that I saw were mental illness, cancer, LGBTQ content, stories about refugees and families fleeing various countries, the Holocaust, and in general, living as a Jewish person in different countries. There was a lot of stuff about growing up, so people talking about their experience growing up with their family in different circumstances, and a lot of stuff about trust. Unfortunately, I did notice that there was a lack of Indigenous content in the graphic memoir selection, which I will address in my collection development. So with the deselection and weeding process, I looked at the University of Alberta Library's deselection guidelines. They were kind of slim. They mostly talked about the kind of people who would be involved in the weeding process, but didn't really give specifics on like what to look for when weeding. I also looked at other academic weeding guidelines, and then when I formed my set of guidelines, that I had them focus on the physical condition of the item, how it was circulating, and if the material in the item was still relevant. So weeding the graphic memoirs, I was very surprised and happy to see that they are actually circulating very well. I actually only ended up weeding one item and recommended that another item be moved to RCRF, as the University of Alberta Libraries try to keep at least one circulating copy at RCRF. So I weeded Ethel and Ernest by Raymond Briggs. Ethel and Ernest was purchased by the University of Alberta Libraries in 1999 and has only circulated once. It is about a family in Britain during the Depression, and we have other material that fills that niche. And I moved Mom's Cancer by Brian Fies to RCRF. It was purchased in 2006 and only has circulated once. However, it was the only item I saw that's dealt with, instead of someone's personal journey with cancer, the experience of someone having a close family member with cancer. So selection. The UAL collection policy talks about working to have a broad and diverse collections. So I tried to add titles that were based on gaps in subject areas. So like I mentioned, Indigenous content was something I saw was missing. Graphic novels typically cost between $10 to $20, give or take. So I was actually unable to spend my entire budget of $800, though I did manage to spend a little over half of it, which I was very pleased about. I added 26 titles, 9 of which were Indigenous stories, and I found graphic memoirs by using Oasis ProQuest, Good Minds, and Book Riot. So some of the graphic memoirs I added, this is just a quick sampling, were the Louis Riel, a comic strip biography, Everything is Teeth, which is about someone's love of sharks, Prison Island, which is about Colleen Frakes and her family growing up on an island that is specifically a prison island, and Splitting Hairs by Mimi Pond, which talks about different hairstyles throughout the 20th century. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next week in class. And some references if you are interested.